Serperior is one of the most popular starter Pokemon in the entire franchise. Trainers first laid their eyes on Serperior after the Snivy they had received from Professor Juniper had evolved from the awkward and snooty Servine. Though the Snivy line is one of my least favorite starters, I still respect the line and won't let my personal opinions blind me from how much of a menace Serperior is in competitive play. Ever since it received the Contrary ability in Generation 6, Serperior has been in the OU tier since and doesn't look to be leaving anytime soon. Though Serperior is one of the most loved starter Pokemon who manages to be excellent in competitive play, it has some downsides that cannot be ignored. Rather than hear me complain about how barren Serperior's move pool is and how its stats are better and worse than Meganium's, let me talk about how I would improve the Regal Pokemon to become even more powerful in high-level play. First thing that needs to be fixed is Serperior's stats. Serperior has the lowest offensive stats of any starter Pokemon at 75 in both attack stats. This is astonishingly low for a final stage starter. And before anyone says, what about the Contrary ability? Yes, I know about Contrary and how it works, but just because it has an excellent ability, that doesn't excuse these low offensive stats for a starter. To be blunt, I had a ton of trouble deciding how I would rework Serperior's stats, as Serperior is a Pokemon who really doesn't want to lose much bulk, power, or speed. Although I contemplating just nerfing the attack stat into the ground and raising its special attack stat to become ludicrously high, I didn't like the idea as it doesn't make Serperior's stats unique and workable. But after some adjustments in stat works, I came up with this stat spread. An HP stat of 79, an attack stat of 63, a defense stat of 90, a special attack stat of 87, a special defense stat of 100, and a speed stat of 115. Serperior's biggest problem is that it needs to launch a single Leaf Storm in order to be threatening, and with a measly special attack stat of 75, Serperior could be lacking immediate power. But with a special attack stat of 87, Serperior can max out at 300 and is immediately threatening upon entering the field. As for the attack stat, that's Serperior's least utilized stat. Although it enjoys knockoff, Serperior uses the move for item removal rather than offensive power, so taking 12 points away from the attack stat seems fair while also not nerfing it into the ground. As for the bulk, I took 5 points away from the defense stat and redistributed them into the special defense stat, resulting in a special defense stat of 100. Meanwhile, I added 4 points into HP and 2 more points into speed because there's nothing wrong with a little extra speed. The new stat spread allows Serperior to be more especially bulky and a tad bit faster while also being immediately threatening on the special side, rather than needing to launch off a Leaf Storm in order to be immediately threatening. Coming up with new stats for Serperior was one thing, but trying to even think about an alternative ability for Serperior is another thing. Serperior is defined by Contrary, and to replace it would just make Serperior worse. So although I'm not going to replace Contrary, I would like to mention Limber and Multiscale. Limber could help prevent paralysis from crippling Serperior, meanwhile Multiscale can help reduce the damage from super effective hits when at full health. To be honest, Multiscale would be a solid replacement for Contrary, as it fits alongside Serperior's bulky playstyle and would make thematic sense. Although you could make a solid argument for Serperior having Multiscale over Contrary, Contrary is the better ability for Serperior in the long run, and it is the ability that defines its success in competitive play, launching Leaf Storms that boost its special attack by 2 stages rather than lowering it by 2 stages. But Leaf Storm isn't the only good move Serperior has, as it has a Dragon Pulse, which is solid coverage. There's Terra Blast, which every Pokemon gets and is meant for Pokemon with non-existent coverage. Yeah, Serperior's coverage is basically non-existent, as apart from all the cool physical moves like Aqua Tail, Aerialist, and Knockoff, Serperior has hardly, if not any special coverage, and has always had to rely on Hidden Power and now Terra Blast for additional coverage, which, don't get me wrong, are great moves to have, but having to rely on these moves just reveals how barren the Pokemon's move pool is. Lilligant is a great example of this, as its move pool is nothing but grass-type moves, alongside Terra Blast, Pollen Puff, and Dream Eater being its only coverage options. But this video isn't about Lilligant, it's about the Snick. So what are some coverage moves I can give Serperior that it could use while also making sense? Well, extrasensory could make sense. Having a psychic type move that has decent power and could cause flinching while also hitting poison types very hard would work for a fast special attacking support Pokemon like Serperior. And since Serperior learns a good number of psychic type moves like the Screens, Rest, and Calm Mind, extrasensory wouldn't seem too absurd. Meanwhile, Flash Cannon and Dazzling Gleam would be good coverage for ice types and fighting types respectively, while playing into Serperior's grass-like nature, with it needing to require light and all that jazz. And since Serperior is using its plant-like traits, it could use its vines to launch off a powerful air slash that targets opposing grass types and hits bugs for good damage. And the last special attack I wanted to give Serperior is Boom Burst, for no other reason other than the fact that it would be funny to have a +6 Serperior launching off one of the most powerful normal type moves. And those are the special attacks I believe make sense for Serperior while giving it necessary coverage. Don't you worry, non-contrary Serperior trainers, I didn't forget about you and knew some of you would try to make Coil Serperior still work despite how entirely outclassed it is by the contrary set. So for you, and only you, I will attack on Dragon Rush, Power Whip, Iron Head, Body Press, and beat up to Serperior's moveset so that he can run a fun, gimmicky set for the Regal Snake. And with that, that's how I would improve Serperior. Although Serperior isn't one of my favorite starter Pokemon, I still respect what it can do in competitive play and am under the impression that my potential buffs would make Serperior better in high-level play while not making it absurdly broken. But what do you guys think about these buffs? Let me know down in the comments below, and there's no need to make a request for who you want me to buff next, as I'm going to buff a certain Kalos Pokemon a viewer requested not so long ago. So make your guesses on who I'm going to be buffing next, and until next time, I'll see you then. Later.